Dun, 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 dun,
You're
dun,
hypnotized.
dun,
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 dun. Star
dun.
Wars, baby, Star Wars. Darth Vader.
You weren't even born during Star Wars. What are you talking about? You don't know Star Wars.
You fucking kidding me?
How old were you when Star Wars? Star Wars came out, what, in 70s?
77. I was born.
You remembered from the womb.
I was like, I want to see.
Oh, your mom said, I've just given birth to Darth Vader.
Oh, Jesus.
We are on A Wonderful Chaos, and this is a special show. Why is it a special show, Bambos?
Because we have Amelia Lopez.
No.
It's 100.
It's 100. It's 100. And we don't want to offend Amelia, but yes, Amelia is
We've
also
done
on the
it
show.
since
We made
COVID.
it.
100
Since
episodes.
COVID, 100.
Every day.
Think about it.
Every day.
I mean,
Consistently.
on
2
what
weeks
planet
off.
does that happen?
Actually, we had 2 weeks off, and then
We had 2 weeks
2
off.
days earlier this year.
Yeah, we took like 2 days off. But I mean, when we say to people, I found it so interesting because even people on the show are like, so how is your weekly show going? I go, what do you mean weekly show? It's daily. There's always this face like, hold on, how did you manage that? And I'm asking myself the same. So additionally to it being incredible that we have the 100 show, we also have Amelia Lopez, and I can't pronounce her last name, Huix.
And this time, it's a friend of both of us.
Oh, yes, exactly. It's not a high school reunion quite, but it's a friend for many years, 15 years, I believe, at least over 10.
I think for me, it's 4 years.
4 years. And Amelia has been doing a lot with diversity and inclusion, including working with the UN on programs. So she's done some real things. I asked her to be on because she has an incredible story. Her story goes back to 1986 when she was 12 years old. I had to write some notes.
I can see that.
12 years old.
And where are we going to do this, Andy?
Oh, we're going to do this.
We're going to do this?
On A Wonderful Chaos.
On A Wonderful Chaos, Andy.
Thank you. So it's 100 shows, but I still screw up the intro every time.
That's why it's A Wonderful Chaos, Andy.
Yes, thank God. If I had to get it right, this thing would have never worked. That's for damn sure.
Well, we did try to get a second mic on, but
yeah, second mic. I'm giving up on the second mic.
Yeah.
We're helpless when it comes to this mic thing going on. Amelia. So Amelia and I have had contact for over 10 years. I work with her husband, Jesse Kraai. Jesse does a lot in leadership, and we've worked throughout the years. Very nice contact. And Amelia has always had this funny, interesting background story, which she doesn't actually speak about that often, but I always was fascinated by when she did speak about it. And basically, it goes back to 1992. She was a swimmer, and they announced that the Olympics were going to be coming to Barcelona in 1986. Is that right? Yeah. No, sorry, 1992. In 1992.
Okay.
And at that moment, she says, I'm going to be on the Olympic team as an Olympic swimmer. And she made that designated decision to have done that.
Sweet.
Yeah. And she makes it onto the team. And in that process, she discovers a lot of things about gender that she then uses for the rest of her life.
But she was still a teenager then, huh?
She was still a teenager. She
18.
would have been 12 years old when she did it. And then figure from 1986 to she'd be 18 years old. So at that time, she shared with me that there were big discoveries she was making. She was just in the infancy of understanding gender roles. And she had this beautiful opportunity. Oh, always the same.
Get out of the way.
Oh, yeah. Gender roles.
Gender roles.
She asked us for this picture. We had other pictures that were much easier to see, but she said, please keep that one. Gender dynamics are a pertinent topic for discussion in our times. And I believe that's coming from Bolalong, who just wrote a comment. And Bolalong has to switch to his own user. Otherwise, we don't know it's him. It looks like we're sending messages to ourselves. So she, and we're going to get into this, had 2 different grandmothers from different cultural backgrounds in Spain. And she discovered a hell of a lot from having those 2 different influences in her life. And it all came to a head the year that she was deciding to go on to the Olympic team. And she said she was willing to come on and discuss that for the hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That was it. How are you doing, Bambos?
Feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what my next question is?
How good?
Well, you say pretty. I always take the one word, which is relative, and then ask, what do you mean pretty?
Yeah, I feel like last week a tap was open, so a lot of work was coming my way. And this morning I woke up and I'm like, I'm so fucking booked. So I had to turn off that tap this
Oh,
morning.
wow.
Like this morning was a day I actually slept in, which means 7.
Mm.
And I went to the computer, I turned it on, and the first thing I did was turn off that tap just to like create some space because
Wow.
there was just fully packed.
I love that. Whew. That must feel incredible after living in such a drought.
Such a drought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
And how are you?
Good. I've really, last week was totally emotional because of the book launch and the love that I was given. It was really beautiful, overwhelming. I'd say whelming, not overwhelming. And I just bathed in it,
Fucking love it.
And the funny thing was, I've had this discussion with 3 people now, and it's a little bit weird for me, but I really prepared and surrendered. Like, to do things well, I often feel like I'm a Buddhist. I'm drawing my sand and just letting it unfold. And I spoke to my brother today, and he's like, "Yeah, but you knew it was going to succeed." And I was like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "But if it didn't do as well as it did, you wouldn't have been celebrating it like you have." And I was like, "Yes, I would have been." Like, what I think, it's the hardest thing where I don't feel like people see me.
Yeah.
Is the process is always more beautiful than the outcome. And you might see it as platitudes on tiles. You might see it as like things written on Facebook in meme format. But when you live that, life is so effing beautiful. Like, it's just beautiful. Like,
I know that you live that. Like when you did the book tour, right?
Yeah.
You posted a video, like, and I think this was on the first week. You posted a little video of you sitting in a bookstore where you're supposed to give people the experience.
Yeah.
And no one showed up, and Andy posted a video of himself like this.
It was the best.
It was hilarious, and I know you in that way.
And what I don't get, and it just almost like, and I've heard it 3 or 4 times, even from people I really love and respect, they always say, "Oh, you knew this was going to be this. You're good at you always," and I'm like, "No, I prepared and surrendered." And the surrender is really wiping the beautiful sand that you made it, like if you were the Buddhist monk making this piece of art, and just letting it be whatever it's meant to be. And loving it, whatever it is. And that's something where I feel so like people don't get it.
And it's fucking great.
And it's fucking great. And that's the beauty of it. Like our guest, our dear friend Bolalang on one of our shows last week says, we need a hashtag for this. So what do? We actually say, hey, the hashtag's going to be, and it's fucking great. And what happens?
Facebook page.
I've seen some of the most tear-jerking tiles on that page. Like every time I go there, I'm like grounded because I see people surrendering to these things that are hard as hell to just state out loud. And
it's fucking great.
And it's fucking great. And that's been a beautiful gift.
Your next step, because I asked people to go on it.
Yeah.
I think you should make a video.
Okay.
Where you talk about what, like, because
there's some confusion of
what people are like. Yeah, but why would I say it's fucking great? They still don't get it.
Yeah. And somehow I've been wondering to myself the same thing: is do I allow it to unfold where I've always wanted my life to be an example of the thing that I wanted others to aspire to? So I keep thinking, if I give them a prescription and say, hey, this is the way to do it, then to some degree it loses the authenticity of the journey. Like someone came on and said, I hate this stupid fucking group and it's fucking great, and I thought that's beautiful, right? Because in a way, let's say if I get triggered by that, then I get to celebrate that. Like I get to say,
I get triggered.
I get triggered by someone judging it, and I'm worried that others in the group may feel judged, and it's fucking great. Like the whole endeavor is not to try to pre-prescribe how one has to feel. It's more, let me celebrate whoever triggers me. And even if they're in the group triggering you, what I don't yet know is the boundary of, if it becomes a personal attack, I'm not all that interested in that. If I feel people getting personally attacked, I'm just going to throw them out. I don't have any time, energy, or effort to discuss it. But not notwithstanding, I think everyone gets their full expression, even if others are triggered by it.
So I would say you don't have to make the video anymore. We can just use the first 10 minutes of this live.
I may do that. Well, we can't talk much longer because we've gone 10 minutes. And I know Amelia is dying to come on. She told me she's been like waiting to have her voice heard by the world for years. And this is the first time she had this platform.
Okay, Amelia, tell us your pain.
It's not true, and it's
not true.
Not true at all.
I had to pull her on, kind of kicking and screaming on this show.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
And to add more pressure, it's always the people that don't want to be on the show that are the best shows.
Always the best.
Okay. Yeah.
And we like people who don't like to say. So I'd love to go back to this 12-year-old Amelia. 12 years old in the Baskenland. Is that where we are?
In the Catalan side.
The Catalan.
Also radical people, but on the other side of the mountains, close to France.
So you're in Catalan at 12 years old. Tell me, when does your dream happen that I'm going to the Olympics? How does that happen?
Well, it was not really a dream. It was a vision. It was a vision that because I had a very challenging childhood, both with my parent and with my father and grandmother. And I developed. I was living in a world without possibilities. It was a very challenging childhood. And what happened is that in the most, I don't know how it works for other people, but in me, what happened is that my world became so impossible that they started to envision the world that I would desire. So a big vision came to me, and I envisioned the world with my own family, a loving family. I envisioned the world that I would find my love partner, the love of my life. Not in a romantic way. I had a very strong sense of partnership, that I would find my partner, my deep partner.
Yeah.
And I would create my own family, because what I was experiencing was not functional enough, and I created a huge desire of have my own family and a home. And I was a very talented young girl in the water. And so opportunities came, but it was through a vision. So it was not a dream. It was the strong desire of the vision that I had of my own life. And that happened, this disaster. And now I appreciate very much that when you open this Facebook page of It's Fucking Great, I honestly thank so much my family for having created this so big chaos that triggered the life that I really wanted, and the energy, the strength to say, this is the girl I'm going to, this is a woman I'm going to be, this is a family I'm going to create, this is the partner I'm going to find. That was exactly the opposite of what I was living.
This is quite a beautiful kind of a thing, I would say, is that I've found that in a lot of ways, when we are feeling, Bambos and I are testing our mic. That's better. That's where our problem was. Sorry about that.
Now it works.
Thank you. Did you hear us before, but just not as loud, I guess?
Now it goes better. Yeah.
Okay. So when you were speaking just a moment ago, what came up for me was that I saw that everyone's got their childhood story, whatever parent, you know, I don't even want to go into the uglier side of it, but there's always the story of some sort. And the interesting thing is that how we react to that story defines us so much. Because, like, you know, my story, I didn't want to be like my dad. And then basically I became, you know, angry. I became angry because I resisted that emotion. And when I hear you, it sounds like your family kind of became the prototype of what you didn't want to have in your life.
Absolutely, the opposite. Was severe abuse and neglection. I think today some authorities would have retired the children from my parents for the severity of the situation. But I was, if I look back at this very young girl, I am very, very proud of her. She had a genuinity and a strong vision and a very strong heart and a strong will, a lot of will. And she really believed that this was not the dream, the vision of her life. She saw her life. She saw the future. And then everything opened. I mean, I remember these moments very well. And but specifically to the topic that what has really determined my life, there was a huge difference between my Catalan grandmother and my Andalusian grandmother. So my Andalusian grandmother was a woman very determined by a male-dominated world, and I still today, this is what I still consider, that I did learn at a very young age that we live in a male-dominated world.
When did you begin to feel that?
The very young age, because I was spending a lot of time with my Andalusian grandmother, and she was asking for permission about the money, and I felt she was physically abused. It was a kind of domestic violence at home with my grandfather. Not that I saw it with my eyes, but I always sense this pressure. But I saw it in the work of my mother. I saw it. I have 3 brothers. I saw it in the school.
So you'd say outside, just you experienced a lot of physical abuse in your surrounding.
Emotional, yes, a lot of, yes. It was this, what, I don't know the description. It took me years to understand what patriarchy is, but this is control of the life of women. And in my case, it was not abstract. It was a very present expression, both with my parents and with my Andalusian family, the South Spaniard family. What I experienced with the mother of my mother, my other grandmother, she was Catalan. And Catalan people are famous to be more the European side. That's why the Olympic Games were in Barcelona, a more cosmopolitan city. And although physically I look very much like my father, and I am this half Arab, I have this profound Arab physical aspect, my mind was, I'm profoundly Catalan and raised towards the north, towards a progressive society. And my Catalan grandmother was the opposite of my Andalusian grandmother. She, in the 100 years ago, she had her own motorbike. My grandmother and her sisters were the founders of the most important political party in Catalonia. They would have their own horses. They would have their own, arms to defend their lands. I mean, it was a completely different domain. They went to university as well. So I was raised by these 2 very different. She was a manager. My grandmother, the Catalan grandmother, was a manager, and she knew about money and finances. And
so, how did you're interacting with these 2 different energies in your life as a kid? So, when you're interacting with them, how are you kind of experiencing that as a kid? Like, how do you see? Like, how does that affect you?
Still nowadays, it has taken me a Dutch life to come to peace to myself, because it's a kind of very schizophrenic or bipolar behaviors that are completely 2 opposite cultures, and you are both of them. It's not that you experience it from the outside. You are this. It's my father and my mother, and I can see that in myself. So how do you, the question, emotional with an emotional, expressing my emotions like through fire, identification with emotions, very strong emotional identification, and a strong mindset. So what saved me was my capability to have a very strong mind, focus, and determination, and understanding that I had a problem in expressing my emotions.
Mm.
I had a problem in expressing my emotions and frustration or whatever. It was more than frustration. It was a mix. It was too dense. It was so dense. It's like a wild horse, I would express. And and you have to not domesticate, because this wild horse, I mean, it has a beauty. It has it has its own dance. So I had to learn how to dance my own dance. And so the miracle was to fall in a swimming pool at a very, very young age. I was 6 years old, and and I have. Not, it's not that I fell. Went to the swimming pool with my parents, and I was swimming like a dolphin, and my parents said, "Wow, this girl, she can swim. I mean, she can swim." And still nowadays, it's not. It was something very natural, and since then, so that was my escape, and so that was my world. And that helped me a lot to realign these two very strong energies. So the fire became more a canalization, I don't know, with the water, but then also the mind. It was hours and hours in the water, and that was a canalization of the future. I had the chance to connect with my mind and my emotions, and more than that, it was. I read a book time ago, 2 years ago, that it made a lot of sense to me what happened to my mind. Still nowadays, how I dream, how I envision my life, and how do I explain myself. That was Blue Mind. It was through the water.
There's something as you spoke, which I find interesting, is that, I always had this really horrible relationship with my dad, and my dad was the kind of what you would call the aggressive, the stronger energy, and my mom was just incredibly loving. And so I was always interested, because as I got older, I saw that both of these energies were very, they actually became complementary to one another.
Yes.
And what happened is that as I got older, I actually became much more appreciative towards my dad's energy, which I judged for so long. Dambos is playing with our mic because there's something that feels like it's sort of not quite right.
Can you hear us well?
Yes.
Let me just switch something quickly. Let's see if this works.
No.
Is that? Oh yeah, that sounds like that might be better. Okay. So yeah, I as you speak, it sounds like in making peace with those two energies in your life, you had the opportunity to basically see the beauty in the grandparents that you judged.
Absolutely. But that happened at a very young age. Another thing was to be capable to manage these strong energies. But without these energies, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be the mother that I am. I mean, in the 21st century, to have 4 children. I mean, the life I've lived without fear, or with fear, but with the capability to go. That fear has not stopped me. I have lived very challenging moments. So this kind of temperature, I was capable to feel that. I've been capable to handle and to experience very strong, high levels of temperature, like an emotional. High levels of temperature. I always say, I don't know, I experience it as a temperature, not as a temperature. And that was necessary for my swimming career or any other kind of career, the energy I needed to do it. Of course, I can judge the behavior when, for example, if you look, my father was born in the 32, and my mother she's 70 years old. So I can imagine that these people, without the awareness of these cultures and these energies, the behaviors are very dysfunctional.
Yeah.
In a way.
Amelia, there's two things which really jump out on me. Well, actually, there's more, but when you're speaking, you mention dream and vision, and I see I can't really, like, dream seems a bit fluffy then, and vision is I see it and I do it, or I let it unfold. Like how is that? Like, can you explain to me how you experience vision and dream?
Yes, a vision for me, it was very clear since a very young age. I mean, when there's a saturation, when you don't live in a romantic world, and maybe for a child, I mean, my children have lived a very different experience. We create dreams for them. We tell them a lot of stories because we are trying to avoid them to suffer or something. In my life, as a child, I had no barrier to sufferance. So it was really like, I did learn at a very young age that what I was experiencing was not the dream of life. It was a very heavy childhood. So I can say that, I don't know. I mean, I have no notion of what the vision is, but how it functions in me is that vision is something that I cannot control. It's something that I have a strong desire, and I really know what I want for my life. I knew I wanted a family. I knew I wanted a home. And that was a very strong decision since a very young age. I was 9 years old when I told to my mother, I'm going to have my own family and I'm going to have my own home. And I knew that it was not anger. It was such a strong decision because it was so dysfunctional what was going on. And I remember the day until today. And the vision was like, it comes, it's something you cannot control. It's our soul or our being is so intelligent that the projection was there. I had no control. What happens is that then you start dream, because in a way your emotions in your life, how you flow in your life, in me it has worked through dreams, and then it has to do with your emotions. So if you are not scared about these strong energies, it drives you, and then this is what I call purpose. And when you decide to follow your purpose, sometimes the images are very scary, because I saw the Olympic Games, I saw the water, and now lately I saw the United Nations as well. But then, I mean, it's not something that is given to you. It's a very hard work to go there. It's very hard work. And so I really appreciate this energy. So it's very much like an alchemical work. And I really trust my dreams. I enjoy dreaming. And I enjoy being very much in contact with these energies. And only the time has given me the trust that I can trust my dreams, and that I can trust that I'm not hallucinating. Sometimes it's like, I mean, when I was very young and you see the Olympic Games or some traces that you are going to be part of this, it's like, I mean, you are a girl, you cannot explain this. But then, of course, in that case, if I was a swimmer and you enroll and you find the right people, but it was a kind of, since a very young age, with a very limited capability to have a romantic life or a dream life. It was the horror life. So I had no other choice than to envision my future, because there was no other kind of existence. There was, I mean, it was very, very heavy, and it was too heavy.
Like,
yeah,
when you're speaking,
We've got something's weird going on with our microphone. I don't know.
I can hear you very well the whole time.
We sort of have this sort of weird reverberating thing going on that we hear on our end. Speak now. Oh,
better.
Okay,
Amelia, when you're speaking, I almost want to get up and run out of the room.
Oh, really?
Like, oh, we don't hear her now.
Are you there?
Yes.
Oh,
okay. Now we don't hear Amelia. I thought we fixed it.
Hello.
Can you say hello to us, Amelia?
Hi, Bambos and Andy. Hi.
That's weird. Let me think about this.
Audio. Sorry, it's a wonderful chaos, guys.
And we like it that way.
And he likes it that way. Say something. Say hello, Amelia.
Hi.
Say I'm a wonderful person.
I'm a wonderful person.
It's interesting because we either hear you well or ourselves well. So we're going to stay with you and forget about ourselves for the moment.
But you can hear us, right?
Yes, I can hear you the whole time since the beginning.
Great.
Okay. So when I hear you speaking, there's so much intensity that my body is like seriously, I want to get the fuck out of this room right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of intensity, isn't there?
And like when you said the word, I wasn't angry, I didn't fully, and that's just what I project, because I've been in an abusive household when I was small. I felt angry. So when you said, and it didn't come from anger, the way it felt for me was like maybe you even used that anger to propel you, but like I felt really angry. Like, and listening to you speak, I feel fucking angry.
Oh, I didn't
So
experience this way.
it's touching the parts of me, and I don't feel comfortable. Like
Okay.
my 5-year-old doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, but that's maybe, I don't know how you experience your childhood. Yeah, I have, of course, I had problems with anger management, but it has not to do with these experiences. I do tend to react when I'm not allowed to express myself, or somebody wants to really, um, I don't know, when I'm labeled uh, in a very unfair way. But for the rest, no. I feel a profound love for my parents. I can really understand them, and I profoundly love both of them. I can see them, and I mean, my father was raised in. He was born in the Spanish War, and my mother, she was trying to.
I want to slow
I
you
mean,
down.
like I'm not angry, but I can understand the intensity.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like I wasn't directing anything against your parents, by the way, because you look like you found peace, by the way. The thing that jumps out though, like you could have gone into this suppressed victim, and the way I experience you is like I've also worked with you in front of the camera, right? It's like such a power, like bam,
Yes,
and it's almost like you have earned for yourself the right to live.
exactly. Yeah, well,
Like,
I knew very well the other side of the story. Of course, my Andalusian grandmother committed suicide, and so I know how it ends when you really believe that all of this creation leads you. You decide that this creation leads to a non-possible way. So I knew what was the direction of this culture. So
How
I did
how how
I
old were you when
decided
that happened? How old were you when that grandma killed herself?
9,
Oh, and
and
how was
she was
how
my
was
only
it for you?
oh,
How was that for you?
terrible, because I knew it was going to happen, uh, and I did promise myself. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. It was terrible. It has been the most that has been the most painful thing I have carried in my life. That has been the most profound work I've done in my life.
And what about it?
Um, that somebody can decide to live, to not live, to end her life. How do you end in this? How dark was that? And I couldn't help her. So yeah, I did my best. I knew that was going to happen. Nobody was listening, and 3 weeks before, I was with her. She was. I had a profound love for her, and still nowadays. And Mercedes, and she said, "I'm not going to be much longer here." And I looked at her eyes, and I think I really loved her, and I understood. And at a very young age, I understood what she was saying. And I told my father, and I remember that night when we came back from her home, I was at my room, and I said, if I do everything, if I can do something, maybe I can save her life and she can live 100 years or something like that. But I mean, when I look back, that was a 9 years old girl. But now, what I can say is that probably this decision I took, knowing what was going to happen, I don't know, there are different moments in my life, but I can say I decided who I am, and nothing is going to push me back. I mean, I have had different moments in my life that I was not, I don't know, it was impossible. And
So take me to 1992, Barcelona
yes,
Olympics. You've
uh-huh,
gone through a life neglected as a child,
yeah,
two very different energies that were
yeah,
guiding you from either side because they grandparents are in some ways raising you.
yes.
How does that now connect to this moment in 1992 when you go to the Olympics?
Yes, because, well, you live in a very small village with these very two different families, and you go to school or to grandpa's or to the swimming pool. And the swimming pool was a way where all of these energies and the mind of this girl and the dream she had. So it was a way out to say, this is me. I could feel what my body, I have a lot of awareness of my body. And I had a lot of awareness of what Bambos is saying. I know very well what my body is capable to do or not. So in the swimming pool, everything was unlimited. So, I mean, it was unlimited. So I was very surprised to see that I could swim this way, or I could, I was running so fast, or I had this amazing talent. And in the swimming pool, it could have been another sport, but it happened in the swimming pool. I was what I really wanted to be. And I was dreaming, or I was envisioning what I wanted to see. And so I started by going to the Catalan championships and then the Spanish championships. And one day at the school, the teacher came, and I remember looking at the television, we had these videotapes, and I was registering the Olympic Games. For me, this was really something very inspiring. I don't know, no other films, but the Olympic Games was something for Andy is a Star Wars. For me, where the Olympic Games was something extraordinary to see. And yeah, what happened is that it was 86, and then there was a teacher came to the patio of the school, and the teacher said, the Olympic Games are going to be in Barcelona. It's going to happen in our home, in our land, no? And that was 200 kilometers away. But it meant to say this is going to happen in Catalonia. It's going to happen so close by. So, well, you can imagine that this girl with these decisions, since she was 9, that was a profound decision. I said, I saw it. It was like, this is for me, this is for us. This is for us, because it wasn't a school also for swimmers. So we were swimming and studying, and I almost was not seeing my family, but not because of negative things. It's because we were training 8 hours a day, and we were then going to the school the rest of hours, and we were going to at home to sleep. But, well, in any case, and the weekends we were competing, and we were traveling a lot and meeting a lot of.
But slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into. There's things you're realizing, forgetting about the actual things you're doing.
Yes.
And I'm really curious, what are the things that you're beginning to realize at this time? Because what I understood was that there were really things that at that age started to form and shape you into what you're doing today.
Yes.
So what were those things that you were seeing then?
Yeah, I was seeing that boys and girls, we were partners. We were partners, and we were helping each other. We were supporting each other. So the opposite of what I saw in my family or in my society. And then I saw a huge difference between me and my talents or my capabilities, my strength, between me or other girls that were not having this same opportunity, not even doing other sports. But the swimming world was really like, it's not football that even creates a lot of split. The swimming world was creating really a lot of equal opportunities. We were swimming together. We were mixed. There were no schools apart or parties apart. We were swimming together, and we were understanding each other together. And also at a very young age, sexuality. It was very pure and connected. So no taboos. We knew a lot about our own bodies, not only the water. So all the sexuality in the broad spectrum of it. And so we had very healthy relationships. And also with our trainers, both men and women. So we had a lot of understanding of our bodies, of our minds, of our emotions, of our capabilities. And there was no difference between men and women. And I remember this, that was a precious gift of understanding, wow, I can be really a partner. I can dream. And then, of course, you were preparing for, during the year, you would start the year in September, and you would prepare for the Spanish championships in August or in July, or in this case, you would prepare for the Olympic Games. So you were training with children, boys and girls. You were together, talking and dreaming and preparing yourself, doing it together in all levels, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Together, you were building this future together. And that was very inspiring because
if I hear you, the big lessons were coming from you in terms of the social dynamic, which was so contrary to what you were experiencing outside of the pool.
Exactly. Yes, inside the pool was possible. We were friends. We supported each other. We were not diminishing each other because of being a woman or a man. The contrary, we were supporting each other. We still are very best friends. Yes.
So how is it for you? Because now you've got kind of two different lives. You got a life where everything is sort of in the direction where you see everyone is treated equally, and then you leave that and go back into society. So how
Exactly.
do you reconcile that in your life?
No, that was not reconciling. That has been and still is a very big challenge because that was the vision of my life. So then it was driving my life into building this opportunity for me. In that moment when I was a swimmer, I remember even talking that with other friends that there was a world outside for us was very challenging. For example, even the bodies. I remember the bodies, the health, the relationship, what they were talking about, or the fears they had, or what they were talking, boys against girls, or this kind of not having an authentic. Not authentic, because authentic is a connected relationship, a very connected relationship to touch each other, to hug each other, to share. And the outside was like distrust, walls apart. They were incapable to communicate to each other. It was very much a stereotype based on these films of romantic love, and there was a lot of jealousy. And for me, that was like so alien to why would you be jealous? I mean, this is who you are, and you will match with the guy you match, but you don't have to. There was no manipulation, I would say. I was experiencing there was a lot of manipulation in the outside world. Like in the outside world was fabricated. There was fabrication in the clothing you were wearing. And for me, it was, I was very always with sport clothes, and it was a direct connection, a direct contact, and I never had to mask myself or my body. That was me. And that was me.
And when you, because I know you, and when I talk to you about gender and equality, what I often hear from you is you're not working like other people are treating gender. So in some ways, when you talk about gender, I hear you often referring back to the dynamic you had when you were in the pool. Yes. And I've heard, like, when other people are treating gender, they'll often trying to teach people and kind of say, hey, this is where you're diminishing a woman. Stop doing that. This is where you're diminishing another person. This is, so it's almost in some ways alienating the man, because in some ways no one wants to be told that they're doing it wrong. And what I'm curious is, how do you see, because this has been, we can transition, but you're working now with the UN, you're creating programs that are going into the Middle East. And so how do you now transition and say, take what you learned from the swimming pool, which is a dynamic, which is so out of sync with how society interacts today on so many levels, and say, this is what I believe the future of bringing the gender gap together?
Yes, actually, this is a big problem that you see it reflected in gender. But the problem of not having this trusting or partnership between male and female, it escalated to so many levels of not having opportunities. How you do translate this? So most of people would see women as an object or as something to protect, as something weak. And it happens, I could see that at the country level. I could see, for example, in most countries, women at 12 years old, there is child marriage, so forced to be married. So you start with the control or diminishing this, or not having education opportunities. Or in the Middle East, you can imagine at 12 years old, when you start to menstruate, instead of giving opportunities for a girl to go to the Olympic Games and to be herself, almost in no clothes, and give the best of herself, you see that this girl is starting to dress in black, and her hair is covered, her powerful parts of the body are being covered, and everything is controlled. So, of course, entering in these rooms, I have still this strength, and I don't want to this. I'm not approaching gender equality from the perspective that women belong to pink rooms, or women need to be empowered, or girls need to be liberated. I come from the importance that there is an essential relationship, that women and men have the same capabilities, the same strength, and the same potential. And when given these opportunities, a country performs better. And that was my experience, that it was not about boys and girls. When we were a team together, it was not because of boys or girls were performing better. Our country was the best because we were together. If we would have started talking about who was performing better, of women or boys or girls or boys, that creates the confusion since the beginning. So, of course, we were girls and we were not boys, and there's a lot of difference. But this partnership and this love, this profound love and support we had for each other, and trust that we had each other, was essential to build the best team in this times. That was the best team in the world. And in that time, our swimming club was the best team in the world.
Just to segue, I know how to interrupt guests better than Balbos does, and Balbos wants to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Well, I tapped him.
He taps me on the leg.
Because I feel that he's going to ask the next question.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask the next question because I know when to segue and say, oh, now is a good time to break in for the next question.
So I've got two questions. The first one is a yes or no. Did you win medals in the swimming?
Yes, I have been a Spanish record woman, and one of the records in 200 butterfly was lasted 20 years, and I was.
It's not a simple yes or no question, Bumble. She's going to tell you.
Yeah.
What was the time, just so we have that on record?
Shut up. so.
A 200 butterfly in December 1991. I was the Spanish record woman.
Amelia, don't listen. He was joking. So. I've been sitting here actually and listening, and I have a hard time staying here present. Like I feel my body really uncomfortable, and then I had to really step into your body, and it feels like the tension of the little girl, and then going and touching the water. So from this wild horse becoming a dolphin, you had a why in your life, like your strength was derived from, I'm gonna fucking do this because my life depends on it, and because I want to put a print into the world. So you fucking rocked during the Olympics, and then I hear your voice screaming out into the world again, and now in connection to the UN. And
well, what happened is something different. Is that I became a mother of four.
You took that energy though.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And you're manifesting and trying to make a difference in a country, not here in Holland, but in a country where women, like you said, women are covered.
Yes.
And I want to sit with that for a moment before we talk anymore, because that's really profound.
Yeah. Well,
when I say sit with it,
he's saying be quiet. Be quiet. He wants us all to go into a little bit of a Zen state.
Like just feeling that woman in that part of the world.
Beautiful work.
And I would even suggest that's you. Back then.
That was my promise to my grandmother. And the promise to my 4 girls, that nothing is going to stop us. No country, no king, no father, no man is going to say what's possible for us or not. Everything is possible. What happened in the Middle East was a miracle for the Middle East themselves. They never saw a vision like what I presented, with such a serenity and confidence and strength. So Andy was in this time supporting me in the communication, and the conversations went on the table of the Ministry of Economy to make understand that he needed to protect their mothers of the country in order for the country to succeed. You can imagine, no woman has ever entered this room to a Ministry of Economy of a Middle East country next to Saudi Arabia to tell them, protect your women, protect your mothers, because if not, your country is going to fall apart. But at the personal level and an esoteric level, at the level of the soul, my grandmother comes from Granada. And that was a culture that was impossible for women. And when I went to the Emirates, I found the Twin Sisters city, an archaeological rest of Granada. And to be sitting there, like hundreds of years later, of the culture that started to create this oppression towards women, and being there sitting to the most powerful room to say, liberate your women, that was my gift to my grandmother and to all the women that in this civilization had to kill themselves because they couldn't make it anymore. So yeah, that was a big gift. And yeah, and I'm back to the Netherlands now, but that was very big for me.
Thanks for sharing that.
Wow.
This part made me arrive. It feels like a full circle. And the word love comes up.
You talked about the vision you carried from your grandma to you. And what's the vision you have for your 4 kids?
That they also experienced, a father, not Jesse, of course, but a father that wanted to block any kind of expression because they were girls. So now this is over, but everything I do is for them to be free to express themselves, whatever their dreams are. And I am a mother who's continuously asking them who they are and to be themselves, to not compromise any. There is no truth, but to not compromise their truth, their reason, their purpose, whatever it comes from this space. And this is the mother I am. I'm very defined as the mother I am for my children. I am very defined for the mother I am for my children. And the work I do, I try to find ways where I see, especially men and companies or countries who have this ambition to take the same opportunity I had when I was 12. I'm trying to see where these same kind of energies and opportunities are open. And when I can track these opportunities, this is where I go. So when I saw an opportunity in the Emirates, I was there. So no, I'm not somebody working specifically in diversity and inclusion. but I'm somebody who's working on saying whose company or whose country is having this kind of vision and ambition. And then I have prepared myself in these 10 years at the United Nations, talking with head of states and ministries to prepare myself to roll out this strategy at these levels. So wherever I see this opportunity unfolding in a company or in a country, this is what I'm jumping into with this energy, and I do it to see this opportunity for all these girls and women.
How does this unfold? Like, I don't know if Yesa has been I think you've had quite a few partners before Yesa.
Yes.
But how, like, I imagine if a man's in a relationship with you,
yeah,
like you're so sensitive to bullshit that you probably pretty much cut his balls then. like it feels that there's a strength there that you put him in his place. And I'm wondering, how does that play? And maybe I'm not even using the right words right now, but I think you understand. How does this play out in relationships to men?
Yeah, well, I love to work with men. I have to say, the most inspiring conversations and
lovers.
Yeah, I love it. It's like this moment.
She loves it, Bambos.
Absolutely.
He's pushing into your private life. He wants to know. He wants the juicy details of how it works.
Details, yeah, but here we have to. Yes, I mean, my husband has friends like Andy, and luckily he had somebody next to him in these very strong times when I was calling him to be my husband and the father of my children, and he was trying to escape that part of him, and there was case, and so it was very heavy for him, but he's alive, and he's alive. So what can I say? He's alive, and he's participant of his life. So yes, I'm not. I like to be with men who are in, and of course, Andy is some guy when. Yeah, I mean, there's a kind of masculinity that I feel very attracted to. And you don't make a misinterpretation now of my words, but I am very attracted to a kind of masculinity.
Andy, you can zip up.
Yeah, I am very attracted to the masculinity that shows up and wants to play and wants to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, for example, when Andy wants to go in the Dream of Granada, if a very specific example, if Andy wants to go to the Dream of Granada, not because of Granada, but the way he wanted to go there, I asked him, is this something real for you and Rani? So yeah, this is the things I say. I mean, in this very specific context, I say, yes, absolutely. Or when Bambos, you came with this session of photos and you want somebody to show, you wanted to see that woman. So I'm looking for what? Not many men are very scared. No, you said a couple of times, I want to run away from the room. So
I would like to for those listening, they may not understand when we talk about like the Emirates. You're proposing a countrywide rollout of gender equality on a scale no country has ever rolled out before. So it's easy to say, hey, I'm doing programs, but you've actually had a cascading system set up where you'll say, hey, we're going to hit every major company with a gender equality goal, which has been set out by the UN. And we're going to give them the credentials to say you've fulfilled the requirements to say establish gender equality in your organization. So we've danced around it, but on one level, what you're doing is so outrageous. I don't even think people could imagine its possibility. Like an individual saying, hey, I'm going to a country and I'm sharing with them, this is how you'd create gender equality throughout your country by leveraging the corporations and using them, because that's exactly where the greatest leverage exists in terms of getting women jobs being treated equally and so on.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And now also at the very specific level of a company, if it's not a country, but a company, you can take a company, for example, that operates in many, many countries. So what is happening today, it's like you can also expand this very powerful force of gender equality by using the markets of that company. So I'm pushing now not only countries to work for the national purpose, but also companies to work for a global purpose. And so I'm also finding this kind of very interesting head of sustainabilities who have this kind of energy and kind of ambition. And they have never heard about something beyond diversity and inclusion, and they cannot understand what is gender economic governance. Like, we can govern the economies of a country when our company. But yeah, for example, one specific case of a company whose brands are operating in almost 200 countries, when you can understand that the power of the assets that women have in their own hands in the 2020, and no matter the crisis, no matter COVID, you can really escalate this impact through your programs. At the global scale, companies are really jumping because they don't need to talk about women. They see a vision, and they see the same vision with the same energy. And I'm fascinated that still the energy is rolling out. But yeah, yes.
And there was an article that's come up over and over again, which is about the in the hedge fund or in the stock women that are running their own funds, they always outperform men in the actual results. And I laughed at Ronnie this morning because we discussed it. And I said to her, you know why that's the case? And she looked, and I think she thought I was going to tell a joke. But I said, it's because women are better at managing downside risk. And she looked like quite surprised, like, yeah, that's actually women are certainly looking at not how do I grow, kill it, destroy it, get as far as I can with the cost of everything, but like, how do I more holistically go about doing things?
And, yes, and specifically if you are a mother, and this is something that also is there is a difference here. When you give birth to your children and you have a prime minister position as a woman, especially as a mother, you tend to have an oversight of not delivering for results in the next 3 months, but you are understanding that your children, the future, and that's the cornerstone of sustainability, on delivering for future generations. What do you need to put in place for the planet to survive? That's why we are calling not only about performance, because we are more sensitive to risk, but when you are talking about sustainability and about the future, in the moment you give birth to your own children and you really care about their lives and their future, and if you manage to have a position of a prime minister like New Zealand or other prime ministers, this is what we are seeing, that in the US, for example, nobody cares that hundreds of thousands of people are dying for COVID, or you have another country that says, okay, let's see how we overcome not only COVID, I mean, financially, etc., etc., etc. Yeah.
We are over our hour, Amelia.
Wow. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great being with you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We send you a hug, and I look forward to speaking to you offline.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
I love seeing how you interacted. That was beautiful. High energy.
Yeah.
High energy.
I was actually a bit insecure that maybe she felt that I was wanting to leave because of her, but it was more that I'm feeling the little girl and that strength, and that's like I was feeling my own stuff actually.
Well, I was feeling it as well, by the way. So let's get that really clear.
And I'm kind of trying to learn how to not attach stories, but just
yeah, I saw it. It was really beautiful to see. And you'll see, so when I'm with Amelia, I'm summarizing things as I understand them and seeing if I can sort of build stepping stones in how we interact and grow our discussion.
Yeah.
And you, as I saw, were really tracking. There was almost like a high frequency that really made it hard for you to stay grounded. I had the same, by the way. It was a very high energy. And when the energy is that high.
Well, the words became noise and I couldn't hold the words anymore. But just feeling the
you
energy
could feel
that
the
carried
energy,
words,
yeah. But the beauty was that I saw how you found the ground in yourself again, and said, how can I sort of make it so that I can kind of connect with her in a way that slows the energy down a bit.
I was even surprised that I found the ground, because it was really like, okay, I'm here, I'm feeling this energy.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it sourced? And then all of a sudden it became really clear.
Yeah.
And then just connecting that dots, like by her going to the Middle East, it's like she's going back home to herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah. And that is when we've spoken in the past, and I've said, if you can see them in yourself, then if you speak from that space, you don't risk a lot. And I was just grateful to see you find that in yourself and then introduce it again. It's really beautiful.
I think she's wonderful.
Yeah, she is wonderful. And just to say, and what puts a smile on my face is that in a past show where we might have had a similar guest, you would have been disconnected. In our experience, right? You would have been disconnected, and now you got even more connected, which is it's just the greatest gift.
Well, I actually saw myself wanting to disconnect.
I could say,
okay, so like stay with the pain.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people who watch don't know what we talk about necessarily off air. But when we're talking,
we're doing it now.
So we're doing it now. Is when we're off air, we're often saying, where did we lose our own kind of grounding, and then how did we react and stay or shift a dynamic that wasn't necessarily finding. For us, we don't do the show to give information to people. That's a nice byproduct. We do the show so we can be together as grounded as possible for an hour. And I love to see these. I'd call them shifts in our dynamic, and movement, where it's as if I've often said, when you're on your game, then I know it's going to be a good show. And you can see it. We've been listening back to the shows separately, and you've just been on your game now, because I see, you're finding comfort in your discomfort and then letting that guide you, which is really beautiful to see.
Finding comfort in discomfort.
Yeah. I think it was really funny. A show last week. You said, I want to ask another question. Remember this?
And you said, no.
No. and that was beautiful, because, it's the most absurd thing to say no. But but between the two of us, it would be the most normal thing to say, because if I'm sensing it's coming from a place where you're trying to get someone somewhere, I'm like, no, I don't want you to get anyone anywhere. But the humor was, you totally you totally gave me you screwed me, because you were like, Andy, no, you're going to want this one. And then you switched it to a topic that had nothing to do with what we were discussing about, but you brought it back to what was important and emotionally on your mind, which is what centered us again.
Yeah.
And that was just a gorgeous gift you gave. And I think the thing of the wonderful chaos, when people are with us, I think the one thing that they enjoy is that we even if it's live on the show, we'll find ourselves back again. And I think half of the time they want to see how we engage people, and how do we stay connected and then connect to them, and how does that look?
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful.
Guys, I'm really thankful also for the votes for my hat.
Yes.
Now it's 30% like my hat.
30% like, 70% would like to see Bambos with a new hat.
So, but this hat is staying. It's my favorite hat.
If you want to mail a hat, I'll give you the address.
Don't mail the hat. I won't wear it.
Bambos likes dark colors, fewer emblems.
Not gonna happen.
We
Guys,
love you all.
Thank you so much. Love.
Yes, thank you. And then
tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
We have waxing
in this petty pace from day to day. Oh no, do we really?
Yeah.
We have tomorrow. We have waxing.
Yeah.
This is so cool. So tomorrow we have Yasmine. Yasmine, say it.
Yeah, Yasmine
Schreifer. Yasmine we had on before because she had a film that we had on, which was, what was it? Death of Darkness.
Death of Darkness.
And tomorrow we're going to discuss the next film project, not yet being filmed. She actually waxed genitalia, specifically female genitalia, not male yet. And she did that in order to prepare
for a
the
year, was it?
For a year at least,
and talking to women and
as waxing. And we're going to talk to her about that experience, what she learned. She's told me some stories that made me want to go almost get sick because it was so difficult. And we're going to have that tomorrow on A Wonderful Chaos. Thank you. Bye.